All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Kakodash, double honors unto the apostles, the elders, the great millstone that taught me this truth through the Holy Spirit, and a sincere peace, blessings, and salutations to you, Akim, across the four corners of the earth that are pushing this knowledge, the truth, and the sincerity. It's your brother Brazal from the GMS Arizona Campbell's Will, with another quick lesson to edify through the Holy Spirit unto you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the true children of Israel, according to the scriptures and according to the prophecy. Shalom. In this lesson, it is going to be entitled, "A Liar Isn't Going to Tell You That He's Lying." A liar isn't going to tell you that he's lying. And it goes towards, you Jakes, you new believers that are coming in to pray to Yahweh Shem Shai for discernment. Okay, let's take a look at discernment, because discernment is going to be key in you finding the true teachers that Yahweh Shem Shai has set up, which is here at Great Millstone, starting with the elder and apostles on down. Why? Because we're doing the Lord's work as we were instructed, and we're teaching these scriptures according to truth and doing it in sincerity. This is about doctrine. This is about the truth of what's written in the Bible and breaking it down to our people correctly. And there's not a lot of guys out there that are doing that, but we're doing it here at Great Millstone. So you Israelites out there that are coming into this thing and coming into the truth, you found out that you're an Israelite and you're learning, okay? You're looking up information. And you're learning these scriptures, it's like you. Then you got to pray to the Lord for discernment, so you don't get caught up following after one of these false groups, these false leaders teaching these false doctrines. Queued up, I got a quick video I'm going to play. This guy gives 3 points on how to spot a liar. Now, you're going to be able to spot a liar if the Spirit is dealing with you. If the Holy Spirit is upon you, then you'll be able to discern. The Spirit is going to help you to discern that you're being lied to. The Spirit is going to guide you. Because as the scriptures tell us that what? The Spirit guides you to all truth, roughly paraphrasing. So the Spirit got to be dealing with you for you to, navigate past the deceptive teachings that are out there. But it's up to you to have that discernment, because none of us can save you. All we can do is teach you the truth, and you got to decide within yourself, within your own spirit, whether it's the truth or not. Whether the truth is what we're teaching or one of these false prophets out here, whether it's what they're teaching. That's where the discernment is going to come in, because that decision is going to be the difference between life and death for many of you Jakes out there. So let's play this video. Fair use. I'm just using this video for informational purposes only. We'll grab a few precepts and then we're going to close it out.
How do you spot?
Now I'm going to say this. The main point that this guy's going to make is the last point that I'm going to speak to, because it's a perfect example when you look at Bishop Nathaniel and, for instance, his breakdown of the MOTB. If you don't know what the MOTB is an acronym we use to stay out of the way of the algorithms on YouTube for pulling down our videos. But it's speaking about the mark that's in mentioned in Revelations the 13th chapter. But let's listen to the video, and that third point is key. So listen up.
Someone who's not telling you the truth. As a litigator, I love cross-examination. Getting someone to tell the truth and knowing when they're not is everything in representing people, but also in living life. There's three things that liars do. First, they use more words than they need to. If someone is babbling in response, maybe they're not telling you the truth. Second, they tend not to say things like I because they don't want to own what they're saying. Many times, if someone's not telling you the truth, they will say something like, well, he said so and refer to it or they or her, someone other than themselves. And then finally, if someone can say something in a simple way, but they tend to explain over and over, then maybe they're not telling you the truth.
Wow. See, and that's the point. I'm going to run that back. See, because is that not what we see with Bishop Nathaniel in the IUIC as the prime example? There's prophecies that can be broken down. Then you got these guys like Genesis going into, Basra, being a lake of fire, and just, you get all of these botched breakdowns from these other guys. You got other, fallouts and men that are pushing this new covenant doctrine. So you got all kinds of things out there that are being pushed that don't pertain unto the truth. And a lot of times these things that go out, a lot of times when they go out, there's a very simple way to explain these prophecies. And we go into the scriptures, we break them down to our people in a very simple and plain way. Habakkuk 2 and 2 says, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So we're supposed to make the visions, meaning the visions being the prophecies, we're supposed to make them plain, meaning it should be easy and clear. Like the apostles always said, Elder Apostle Kabar, push it heavy. Keep it simple, stupid. When we break these scriptures down, we're supposed to make it simple to our people to understand. So if there's something that could be broken down in a simple way, but they keep explaining it over and over, like IUIC's breakdown of the MOTB, then that's a key indicator, as this man describes, that you're probably being lied to. So let's hear that again.
So and refer to it or they or her, someone other than themselves. And then finally, if someone can say something in a simple way, but they tend to explain over and over, then maybe they're not telling you the truth.
So now it goes back to the point of the lesson. Malachi 3, verse 18, it says, then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked. This is key, understanding where we are in prophecy and in the timeline of the end of America, Babylon the Great, and the destruction. Romans 13 and 11 says that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, because now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Our salvation is very near, pursuant to biblical prophecy. Okay? So now more than ever, our discernment has to be at an all-time high. It says, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. So when you think about discernment helps you to distinguish who's serving the Most High and who's not. You got players on both sides. And you got men that got certain levels of understanding in the scriptures with the Bible that are not serving the Most High. Without the Spirit dealing with you, you could be swayed by these men, pulled off into a doctrine that does not lead to salvation. You have to pray to Yahweh Shemi Shai, beg the Lord for discernment to discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. Let's get that word discern. Okay, this is very important going into this time because, like I said at the beginning of the video, a liar is not going to tell you that they're lying to you. You have to discern it. Okay?
Strong's H, 7200. Ra'ah. Ra'ah.
All right, it says to see, look, inspect, perceived, consider. All right, to see, to have vision, to observe, watch, look upon, find out, to give attention to, discern, to distinguish. Okay? To look, to cause to look intently at, behold, to gaze at. All right? So you gotta observe, you gotta be able to perceive, because the answer isn't gonna come from the nigga that's lying. The answer has to come through the Spirit giving you discernment to see, to be able to perceive, to inspect, to consider what's being said, what's being taught, to watch. All right, and after you've gathered the information, hey, if it don't align with what's written in the scriptures, then it ain't true. Then it's a lie. And you got to depart from those men. You got to separate yourself from these type of men, from these types of congregations that push such things. You're not going to be justified in the eyes of Yahweh Shemi Shai if you are sincerely following the wrong person. Because the elect will not be deceived. That means that you weren't part of the elect because the Holy Spirit wasn't upon you to discern. Job 32:8, it says, but there is a spirit in Salakia, but there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. See? The spirit, there's a spirit within all of us. All right? But the Holy Spirit from the Almighty gives you understanding. Now, when you go into that word understanding, what's understanding? Okay? What's understanding?
Strong's H, 995. Bean. Bean.
It says to discern, understand, consider, to perceive. So it all ties in. It's the same thing. Understanding is discernment. Discernment is understanding. You need the Spirit from the Almighty to understand and discern. That Spirit is going to have you poking holes in people's doctrines to see that, man, they pushing some bullshit over here. I got to separate myself. Nah, this ain't it. And then you'll be able to see where the truth is really coming from and who's really doing this thing in sincerity. And guess what? You've aligned yourself with the truth, and you very well could have put yourself into a situation, Salakia, that leads to life and salvation. It's a very important thing to have discernment. Proverbs 3:21, it says, my son, let not them, you know what? Yeah, I'll just jump to the point. Proverbs 3:21, it says, my son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discernment. So shall they be life unto thy soul. See? And grace to thy neck. It says, then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. See? Yeah, that's what discernment can do. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So, like I said, discernment, discretion. But if you look over in the NLT to the right, it says discernment. So let me get that. Verse 21, my child, don't lose sight of common sense and discernment. Hang on to them, for they will refresh your soul. They are like jewels on a necklace. See? You got to keep sound wisdom and discretion. But if you go into that word discretion, right? What do we see? Discretion, purpose, discretion, device, plot. Purpose, discretion, devices, evil. You know, when a nigga set up a whole breakdown that don't make sense, you know, you'll have the discretion to see it. It all ties into discernment. You'll be able to see when someone got a wicked agenda, you know, in play. You know, and if the spirit is really dealing with you, then you'll get the hell away from it. Wherever it's coming from, you're gonna get away from those dudes. Whoever is pushing that bullshit, and you're gonna get with those that, you know, the spirit is gonna lead you to, that you can see that the spirit is dealing with. Okay, that discernment, very important going into these times, because these lying men holding Bibles are not gonna tell you outright that they're lying. You have to be able to discern it. A few more precepts. I'll just start at verse 13, Hebrews 5:13. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised by to discern both good and evil. You know, that's a process. You know, but you want that process to be guided through the Holy Spirit. So when you bump your head or you make mistakes, or, you know, you shopping around, you trying to figure out where the truth is, that, yeah, you might be looking at IOIC or one of these other groups for a little while, but you will ultimately see that the light is not with them. You know, and you're having your senses exercised in that process. To do what? To discern what? Both good and evil. Between what's right and what's wrong, the righteous and the wicked. See, that's the key. That's what it's all about, man. It's very important going into these times. These men and these lies that are getting ready to be pushed, especially with the AI technology that's coming out. Man, the lies that are gonna be pushed about this truth is just gonna become worse and worse. It's gonna become very hard and not to believe. It's going to be very convincing, is the way to say it. You know, and the spirit got to be dealing with you to see through it, to see through the bullshit. Because this devil getting ready to come with some shit, man, that's going to have the whole world convinced that we're the problem. You see? So that, hey, the Lord put you in situations where he exercises your discernment so you can discern both good and evil. You know, and it's a good thing. You know, it's part of the growing process. But it's very important in these times. These lying false prophets out here, they're not gonna tell you when they're lying. You know, they're not gonna come out and say it, no matter how many points we make and how many things we point out about them. They're not gonna come out and admit it. They're not gonna say that they're wrong, or they did a backroom deal, you know, and they sold out. They're not gonna admit it. You got to be able to see it through what they're saying and their actions. Okay? But they're going to have their judgment. This is Revelation chapter 21, verse 7. It says, he that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars. See, all these guys that are lying about breakdowns and lying to our people about the truth, this applies to them. They're not getting away. They're going to be judged in righteousness. And this is going to be their judgment. Let's start again, verse 8. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars, I repeat, all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is not Basra. Okay, it's going to be America, Babylon the Great, after the nuclear destruction. It says, shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. What was the first death? By water, the flood, Noah. Second death is going to be by nuclear fire, and it's coming in the end. Okay, it's coming in the end through the Third World War. See, and the Lord is going to destroy America, Babylon the Great by way of thermonuclear fire. All liars are going to be found in that lake of fire. They're going to have their place there. You're going to be there with them if you're not able to discern who is righteous and who is wicked, who you should follow and who you should not, what's the truth and the true doctrine and what's false doctrine. Discernment is key. So pray to Yahweh Shem Shai that you can be exercised therein and that he give you the spirit of discernment so that you can navigate and discern between the righteous and the wicked. With that, Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time, shalom.